1 year, half of his semester to get a CDL, which is a very valuable tool. I realize that school's not for everyone. A 4-year degree is not for everyone, but maybe a 2-year degree, maybe a 1-year degree. And I feel that these Common Core standards were basically targeting people to go to a 4-year school and to look at more of our trade schools to ensure that our young people have jobs where they can raise their family and stay right here in the state of Indiana. I would be happy to meet with any of you and discuss the issues. I'm accessible to meet with you, and I've enjoyed the time in chatting with you and seeing a lot of old friends here tonight. Thank you.
Darren Vogt has served on the County Council for 12 years, the past 6 of those 12 years as Council President. Excuse me. Can you all hear me pretty well without that? No? Okay. Sorry about that. Anyway, Darren Vogt is running for Indiana State Senate 15 because he has the integrity to lead and the passion for North and East Indiana. It's that thing. That's what it is. Thank you back there. As a member of the County Council, Darren has worked very hard to build a better Allen County. He has, during these tough economic times of the past few years, he has actually helped build the Rainy Day Fund that Allen County now enjoys, reaching a maximum of $21 million. He has fought for and helped institute the first super tax phase-in for the counties, which actually helped the county in 2 ways. First off, it incentivizes new businesses and old businesses to relocate here and expand because it gives them a tax phase-in on capital. It also encourages them, and the other half of it is that it encourages these investments and it offers them these phase-ins if they page their employees higher than the average wage in Allen County. So not only does it raise people's wages, but it also brings in new businesses creating those jobs. Secondly, his second issue is education. Darren Vogt believes, simply put, that we have a broken school funding formula. It is wrong to believe that our school funding formula should be understood by maybe 1 or 2 people in the entire state. Every individual in that decision-making process, parents, teachers, superintendents, the average bystander, should be able to look at and understand the school funding formula and realize what is going on and see where these tax dollars are going. It's yours and my tax dollars. It's no one else's. Moving on from that, Darren knows that not every child or every student is going to go to college, although we should hope that all do. In those instances, we should do, as Mike Pence has already done, increase vocational programs across the state, whether that be through trade schools, different programs within our high schools. You should align better those skills that employers need and want in the workforce so that we can have the skilled workforce we need for the jobs of the future. In regards to secondary education to college, it is utterly repulsive that when our children are just beginning their adult lives, we are burdening them with tens of thousands of dollars worth of debt. Darren Vogt believes we need to look at that. We need to find better ways to provide a more equitable and affordable college program for all students in the state. Darren Vogt is, in terms of social issues, Darren Vogt is pro-life. He's a member of Pathway Community Church. He has been for about 12 years now. His wife and his 4 children all attend there. He actually is a member of the NRA. He holds a lifelong carry permit. To answer those questions from earlier, yes, he actually does own a gun. So just kind of sum it up, Darren Vogt has the integrity to lead and the passion for Northeast Indiana. He has fought for you for the past 12 years across this county, and he has helped lead it, and he will do so if elected to the State House. He will fight for your jobs, he will fight for your children to give them better education, and you will help promote strong Hoosier families. So thank you all for coming again tonight, and we humbly ask for your vote. Thank you.
During the day as CEO of Snyder Food Services. It's a company my wife and I founded in 1990. And through the years, as we've grown and created jobs and built our business, we're now employing over 75 men and women in northeastern Indiana. And I guess humbly but proudly boast, the Snyder family is the largest Indiana-based food and beverage provider for factory, office, education in the state of Indiana. So we're located right here in Northeast Indiana. Probably the biggest question I've been asked is why? Why are you doing this? And having been in business now for 24 or more years, I've continually faced with the new regulations, the new demands, the new forms to fill out, you can't do this, you got to do that. It's just gotten to a point where it's become so burdensome. It's very, very difficult for a business owner to grow his business. And bottom line, it's the small business person that is growing and creating the jobs in Indiana. I do believe that creating jobs and having everyone working is the key to Indiana being a very strong state, Fort Wayne being a strong community. The second reason, quite honestly, why didn't I start in local politics? Why didn't I start at the city level? I was encouraged to be a precinct chairman. Quite honestly, I know nothing of local politics. Being involved with the Indiana Vending Association for over 15 years, sitting as a president for over 12 years, all of my work has been done at the state level. I have been an advocate for you at the state level for the past 12 years, shooting down laws, helping change laws, things that aren't right, things that would take funding away from extracurricular activities because under the guise of creating a healthy student, childhood obesity, things like that. One of the last ones, and I'm glad everybody's sitting because in 2011 or 12, a bill came out at its initial writing before we got involved with it, that literally you could have been stopped by any law enforcement agent on your way home, from the grocery store, your groceries temperature checked, and if they didn't comply with the health department's guidelines, you had to throw your groceries away. That was the way the law came out. Now, obviously, it's changed dramatically, and directly because of the involvement of myself and some of my other colleagues. So, bottom line, that's what I'm about. I'm for jobs. I'm for definitely pro-life. I'm nervous as heck up here, so forgive me, but I'll try to do my best to answer questions as we go. Thank you.
Enjoyed it. I want to first of all say thank you. To take the time to come out here and get involved and care. The job that I have, and I've been a sheriff for 8 years now, I've been a policeman for 32. We don't get to run into a whole lot of people that care. So it does my heart good to see you guys out here because you want to make a difference. You're here, that's why I'm here. I could retire at the end of this year and ride off into the sunset and be done. But my wife said to me, "Are you done?" And I said, "What do you mean done?" She said, "Are you done making a difference?" And I said, "No. I became a policeman to make a difference. I started this career when I was 16 years old as a cadet. It's a program that I started again as the sheriff because it's a great program to get 16 to 21-year-old kids involved. And even if they don't become policemen, they become better citizens. And that's what this is all about, making sure we have better citizens. My wife and I decided I'm just going to do this because I'm not done making a difference. For 32 years, the words protect and serve aren't just a phrase. Protect and serve, it's the way we live. As a police officer, I tell them all, I want you to be the point of the spear. I want you to be the one out there up front always. You've got to be the one that protects the citizens always. You may not think about it, but police officers will protect every one of you with their lives. They don't know you, but they will risk their lives to protect you. Because we care. And that's why I decided I have to run for state senate district number 15, because I care. I care about our state, I care about our country, I care about our county, I care about our city. And we all are upset with where our federal government is going. States' rights is something we need to focus on. We need to make sure that the sovereign states of the United States are the ones that have the control, not the federal government. I'm not quite sure what it takes to get more people involved. I'm glad that so many of you have showed up because at least it gives me hope. I heard some in the beginning say they're frustrated. They're fed up. What can we do? And I said, you can't quit. You can't quit. You are what makes me drive. You are the ones that make me want to go forward. If I would show up here and interview 3 or 4 of you, I'd start wondering, why am I doing this? This job doesn't make me someone. Running for Senate is not going to make me somebody. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this because I care about you. I care about the citizens of this state. I care about what we do and what we have and what our kids are going to have to look forward to. We have 3 grown boys. All went to Ball State. So 2 are still down there, so we know what it costs to pay those bills. But I wonder, what are we going to leave them? We have to make sure that we stay involved and that we do what we can do to make this the best country on earth. It is. It's just going in the wrong direction. I thought at the end of the last election, Romney's going to take over and the tide will turn and there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. There wasn't. but there is. There's light in the tunnel in each one of you. And that's what makes it so important that you guys are here tonight. So on May 6th, when you go vote for me, yeah, you're voting for me, but you're also voting for you. I spent 32 years serving you. Give me another 4. Thank you.
A few opportunities where all of us have the chance to be in the same room and you get to hear all of our views. So thank you very much. My name is Liz Brown. Obviously, I'm the last of the 4 candidates running for the State Senate District 15 seat. And I'll give you a little bit of my background. I know a lot of you from city council meetings that faithful would come on Tuesday nights, but some of you I'm not so familiar with. I moved to Indiana, grew up in Pennsylvania 38 years ago. Went to Notre Dame where I met my husband, got married, went to law school, traveled around a lot with his training, and ended up back here with our 7 children. Since that time, I've done a lot of different things. I got involved in the community, as many of you I'm sure have been and still are, because I think it's important to make a difference wherever you finally set your roots. And so that's what I've done, whether it's been a playground mom or soccer and a volleyball, or not volleyball, I'm not tall enough for that, basketball coach, or volunteering at school or on the school boards at a state, at the diocesan level. I'm Catholic, I'm pro-life at the local level, state, diocesan, and even on the national level. It's important to give back and do those kind of things. Then I started to go more out into the community on the Boys and Girls Club Board and the Parkview Ethics Committee. And then finally, when our youngest of 7 was old enough, I thought, you know what, I want to do a little bit more. I renewed my law license, and I decided, you know what, I can make a difference. I was always involved in politics, and I realized that having been in this community for a long enough time, I knew where I could make a difference, and that's why I served on city council. And you know what? I worked very hard on that council, and I learned a lot, and I think politics does start at the local level. I think it's important to understand how things are funded, where your tax dollars are spent, who spends them, and how wisely they're being spent. And I worked very hard to do that on city council. We wrote laws to try to make things easier for people in Fort Wayne and the surrounding area, to try to cut through some of the red tape. There's still some there, and there's still work to be done there. But those kinds of things are important, and you learn how to do those things at the local level. When this position came up, I realized, you know what? I can take those skills. Since I left city council, I've started my own business. We have a mediation practice. I'm registered as a civil and domestic mediator. I always tell everybody, those have been great skills when you raise teenagers. If I had taken that course years ago. But as a mediator, and now I'm an adjunct professor at St. Francis. But I've also been a substitute teacher. So I've seen that education spectrum from kindergartners literally up to the college level. So I understand the educational challenges that are facing this state. But I don't look upon all of you and think that I'm losing hope and no one cares. Because you know what? I see people who care all the time. People who are passionate about this community. And that's what's so impressive to my husband and I. He sees people all the time in his medical practice, and people love this area. And the reason why is because we can get involved, and we can make a difference, and because we elect people who listen. And that's what's important, to have someone in office who not understands and just listens, but also has the skills to make the difference. I'm your state senator. You vote for me on May 6th. I will make sure that I pass as few laws as possible, because we don't need any more regulation. But I also have the legislative experience from city council and the budgeting experience to understand how to do the cost-benefit analysis and understand what it's going to cost when those laws are passed and who it's going to affect. So I appreciate your having us tonight. Thank you.
I'll ask the questions, and we'll always go from our left to right. The first question will be answered first by Chair Freese, and then down second. Educational thinkers in the past have stated that early childhood education, that's kindergarten and pre-kindergarten, can be harmful and even dangerous to mental development. Are you aware of this, and what are your comments?
I can't sit down and talk. Sorry, we gotta get it. I don't know of any study like that says that. I would certainly hope that what we need to do is challenge our young. And raising 3 boys when they were little in the earliest stages is when they develop the most and the quickest. So I think the more that we give them, the more challenges we put in front of them, the better off they are. You can't let the TV babysit them. I mean, you have to give them the challenges. You have to get their mind going. You have to let them think for themselves. Our second oldest son was so much different than our oldest. They're only 13 months apart. But our second oldest, when he went to kindergarten, he started tearing things apart. He's now getting his master's degree in architecture because he always wanted to know how things work. And I saw that when he was, in preschool doing that. So I don't see how it would have an adverse effect on their minds, pushing them as much as we possibly can. My philosophy in life is good is never good enough. You can always do more. So I guess we've always pushed our kids from the beginning.
I have the infinite pleasure of having 3 grandchildren, one of which is enrolled in a Montessori school. And when they told me my grandson was going to school, I thought, ooh, yeah, what, at 2? Really? No. Education done by creating curiosity. If you're going to sit there and drill them with 2 + 2 and CAT, it doesn't work. But curiosity, creating curiosity so they teach themselves and help themselves learn, it's a great method. I'm amazed at what my grandson comes home tells Nana and Gamble about his day and the things he learns and what he does. And there's a lot of it, it's play. But there's a lot of things that build off of that play, the interaction between other students, the learning of colors, just the very simple basics that prepare him to move on in life for when it's time to learn CAT or 2 + 2. So I have not heard the study either, and quite honestly, from a personal note, education done properly, creating the curious mind, yeah, I absolutely would believe in it and be a part of it.
Dan and I would both agree with the 2 previous candidates and what they said. At that age, it's education through play. It's sparking that initial curiosity. It's feeding that. It's showing them what a book is. It's showing them that reading along with them. It's he said it best. It's education through curiosity. Darren Vogt has 4 children from ages of 13 to 4. Little Nina's about this tall. They're all in public school. I believe she's in kindergarten or pre-K now. Excuse me. And yes, I don't know if he has. I haven't heard the study, but Darren is very much in support of education at all levels that is done properly.
Actually, some former graduates of the Teach for America program, the KIPP founders, KIPP, charter school, one of the most successful charter school programs in the country, and usually in the urban areas, did a study, actually, that showed that young children who don't have any books in the home are at a deficit when they start kindergarten. Their vocabulary is at 500 words as opposed to the average middle-class child who has 5,000 words. So early learning is essential, but obviously it's the parents' choice. That's the most important thing, that the parents have the choice. And most of us will choose whether we actually send them to a formal school or we do that schooling at home. Most of us will make sure that we read to our children on a daily, nightly basis, as many of us did, I'm sure, with our children. And that's the most important thing. But there's certainly, whether it's early childhood, preschool, whatever you want to call that early education, the most important thing is that the parents have the choice and that the school systems that are offering those programs, that they're giving the children what they need.
Well, first of all, I need to make a correction on the grandchildren. It's 3.3. So we're going to get the 4th one in August. Absolutely. I think the closer you have your government to the people, the more able you are to realize the wants and the needs and then communicate that as they need to be. So I would absolutely support the township and local governments.
As you all know, Darren Vogt is the county council president. He has worked at the county level in county politics for 12 years. He understands the importance of township government. Having been across the state and working with the state legislature, as he already does in his current capacities, he sees how in larger counties such as Allen County and in Lake County and Marion County, how important those townships are and how important their role is. They are the closest government to the people. So yes, to be short and just put in summation, Darren Vogt does see a future for township government in this county and in this state, and he will do everything to support it.
the township trustee. They provide fire services many times. They also provide poor relief. My township is St. Joe Township. My trustee is Richard York. He's done a great job. He's been there for as long as I can remember. So those are the kinds of decisions. Once again, politics is local. Government should be local. Those are the kind of decisions that the local body should have the right to choose or not. So I'm certainly in favor of the citizens being the decision makers.
Closest to the people is most effective. I mean, that's the easy phrase to remember when it comes to township government. It is the most effective. They know the people in their township. That somebody in Indianapolis isn't going to know. Somebody further away. I mean, if you think of the effect the federal government has on us that far away, they don't know. The township trustee knows what's going on in his township, and that is the most effective form of government. Get it close to the people.
Either cash flow or accrual accounting.
Well, as I stated previously, Darren Vogt has been a business owner for 20 years, so he knows what it means to make a payroll. He knows what it means to make a business work. You can't have certain things off budget and run a budget because eventually you're just going to run out of money. You see that problem at the federal level, so you have to run it you have to run it properly at the state level. You have to have a balance sheet that includes everything, and you have to have it. That is what it means to have a balanced budget. As for cash flow and accrual, I apologize. That's not my knowledge. I can defer that to Darren, and as you said earlier, we can give you an answer if you'd like. But thank you.
That is something I fought all the time on city council. We have unfunded pension liabilities on the local level, and it's an issue. Of course, we've seen places like Stockton, California, where they don't have anywhere near a balanced budget, and they certainly are not working on either a cash or accrual system. So I don't think that you can work on a cash system because of the way the expenditures come in. We pay our property taxes in arrears, COIT, or CEDIT, all of those revenues that come into the different municipalities come in at different times, and they are assessed at different times, so that probably wouldn't work. But I think it is so important. We keep pushing that rock of that unpaid bill down the road, and that has been a huge problem. And Fort Wayne in particular, where I was on the city council, and pushed hard to keep taxes down and pushed hard to not continue to raise the levy and go over the budget. They just kept moving it down, and now you see that on the local level with the legacy funds. They're just dipping into that for everything that they possibly can. So I am very much in favor of only spend what you have, and the difference between a need and a want. And that is something that I would take to the state level.
Balanced budget, you don't include everything. Everything has to be included in it. That's what it means to have a balanced budget. It's kind of like being a uniform but not having a uniform. So you have to take everything into account to make sure it's balanced. And I agree with Liz, you really can't do it on a cash flow basis. It has to be on accrual because of how the taxes are collected in. But I think we also have to look at how the taxes are collected and what taxes are collected. I would like to get us back to a government that focuses on the three things that are the most important to us, what government is really supposed to be doing, and that's education, infrastructure, and public safety. Those are the focuses that we should have. We're not going to need near as much tax money as long as we get back to those focuses and get away with some of these programs that we don't need. We have become a nation of handouts. You know, when Obama won the first time, it's because everybody had their handout. What are you going to do for me? And everybody still has their handout. What are you going to do for me? And it should be, no, what are we going to do for everybody else? We need to make sure we have a balanced budget, because like I said earlier, we can't keep passing this on down to our kids. What are they going to have? What are their kids going to have? A balanced budget has to have everything included in it.
As a business owner, obviously, we can't grow our business or spend money we don't have. So, balanced budget, it's a yearly process. We do it every year. Where are we at? Where do we think we're going to be? Obviously, there's projections, potential growth, but again, in the business, other than going to the bank for a loan, at some point in time, there's a reconciliation day. You have to have the money to pay your bills. So, from that standpoint, absolutely, entirely, completely a balanced budget. That's the only way I've operated with for the last 24 years. And again, listening with everyone else, much like our business, we don't have the money up front. We have to go earn it, and then we can pay our bills. So, much like the state, I think the accrual method will work the best.
Given that over 90% of the original Common Core standards have been copied into the newly drafted standards, and that 50% of the people appointed to the two review panels are Common Core proponents, what is your position And what will you do about this situation if elected to office?
Obviously I have 7 children. Their education was so critical for Steve and I. So this is a big issue. Just having a Common Core standards put on hold wasn't enough, especially when they've been repackaged. There's evidence that the English standards that they are going to be actually substandard. And there's evidence now that the math standards in the Common Core are actually going to require remediation for students when they go to college, because they are not. Even though we talk about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, the math standards in Common Core K through 12 will not adequately prepare our students when they graduate from high school to go on and actually do something in science, technology, engineering, or math, which is so unfortunate. So we have to revamp them. We have to start from scratch, which is unfortunate. It's unfortunate for the teachers, whom I know, who work so hard, who are being tested, and their tests are being moved around, and they're giving another test to test for that test, and on and on and on. Because at the end of the day, it's the teachers in the classrooms who really know best what these students need. And instead of us asking the teachers, how do we get these children to learn? What do they need to know? Instead, we're asking some body in DC to tell us that what they think is best for our students here in the state of Indiana. And the best way for us to do this is to take it back, to start from scratch, to encourage our public and private school teachers to come together and to form a curriculum that actually meets the standards that Hoosiers want.
My dad was a school teacher for 30-some years, and listening to the stories he would tell when he would come home about the different issues they had in school. And luckily, I got to go, I taught at Indiana Tech to some college kids, and I've gotten to be principal today at several different schools and watch what the teachers do on a daily basis. And seeing, the one thing that I found interesting is that Liz talks about the tests, and that's what it was, they were teaching to the test instead of teaching what our kids need to learn. And that's what we have to get away from. We need to get away from that. If we have people who are setting these standards up that are pro-Common Core, they need to be gone. And we have to have Indiana standards set by Indiana, not by the federal government, not by anybody outside of this state, but people here in the state of Indiana, that we know what we want our kids to know when they graduate. You know, Common Core dumbing everything down to the middle. I mean, it was a race to mediocrity. And what we need to be doing is, once again, remember, good is never good enough. We can always do better. We need to continue to push and push to make sure that we get the best out of our students. So those that want to go to college can go to college, and they will thrive in college. Those that don't want to go to college, they can go into a vocation where they'll make some good money. But they will know how to learn because of what we set up the standards. Those that are setting up the standards now, they're for Common Core and need to be gotten rid of, and get some other people in.
Very simply, Common Core has to go. It's got to go away. No, none of us, the 4 of us sitting here, have ever learned the same way. We can't be judged by the same standards. You know, obviously Liz is educated and she's got her law degree. I graduated alphabetically. I'm sorry. I was not a good student. I was every teacher's nightmare. I hated it. They hated me. I think I created the P grade to get out. Yeah, he probably did. I mean, that's me. We need to prepare our kids leaving school for life. Be it a vocation, be it higher education, we need to prepare them to be productive adults so that they can function in society, be a positive influence as they go, and keep their hands in the pocket instead of out in front of them looking for the next take. Thank you.
Derek Vogt has been a member of Junior Achievement, which I'm sure many of you know of, for the past 17 years. During those past 17 years, he's taught in 34 classrooms and taught over 710 school children. He knows what it means to look at the classroom and look at the issues in the classrooms from the eyes of an educator. He is also the parent of 4 children, all of them in the public education system. So he is aware of the issues faced by the parents as well. He can come to this issue from both perspectives and look at it for what it is. Now, Common Core, as everyone here has said, does need to go. But I would say the problem that we're addressing and the problem that the question is asking goes deeper. You have to remember, this issue was actually brought up by our former governor and by our former superintendent. It was Tony Bennett, who actually is now back in the state and actually working for it. He's promoting it, basically. So we have to look deeper. We actually have to look at our leadership. It goes beyond this election. It goes beyond Indiana State Senate District 15. It goes beyond State Senate District 16. It goes to the governor's office. It goes everywhere. Look at our leadership and demand what you want from them. and it won't change until we do that. And I encourage you all to do that, and if Darren will join you in that. Thank you.
This debate, what will you do to limit the intrusive collection and sharing of student data?
And I think Jeff's probably said it the best.